Hey, all, Chris Mystery Cleaning Wins the Far Coast once again. So, I had a phone call yesterday with Dan, who's subscribed to the channel. Thanks for your interactions, Dan, mate. He's from Cornwall, and for some reason I had him down as being from Wales. Who knew? So, anyway, so Dan was asking about pros and cons of contractors and employees. Okay, so most people in our position where the business is getting busier, you're going to get to a point where you're just thinking, Jesus Christ, I cannot do it all myself. Okay, so what do? The answer is, really, if you want to get busier or grow the business, then you're going to need people to do that. Now, you know, whether that's you use self-employed subcontractors to a degree or you use employees, okay, and there are differences, etc. So Dan's question was basically, could you explain a bit more about the differences between, you know, subcontractors and employees, etc., and how best to sort of utilize them? Okay, right. So employees, they're more common, in my humble opinion, than contractors. Okay, so an employee has rights, a lot more rights than a self-employed subcontractor. Okay, there is usually a contract that dictates hours. Now, for those of you that follow the channel and have done for a while, you will know my stance on 0-hour contracts. I think they're an abomination, and I will never offer someone a 0-hour contract. I've worked many 0-hour contract jobs, and you know, it just favors the business. The business has you at their beck and call, and ultimately you're the one that gets crapped on. So 0-hour contracts for me are out. I won't use them. So employees have, like I said, they have a contract, they have rights, they have holiday entitlement, they have you know, some sick entitlement, albeit, you know, through the state, all 94 quid a week from it. You know, and ultimately they you know, you have to provide them their safety equipment, you have to provide them their work equipment, you have to provide them with you have to have insurance to use them. You have employer's liability insurance, which covers their you know, if they have an accident at work, or if they cause an accident to a third party or you at work, etc., you can claim on that, etc. You have to have your public liability insurance anyway in case you personally injure someone else. So yeah, there's also, you have to offer them a pension now. Again, I am not an expert when it comes to accountancy. That's why I have an accountant. If I knew all the ins and outs of being an accountant, I would be an accountant. Okay, but I'm not. So I would always, as usual, the usual disclaimer comes: always do your due diligence. Always find your own accountant, etc., and you know, use the people who are qualified to advise you properly. Okay, it's all well and good watching a YouTube video, but I am not an expert. Okay, so with that in mind, then, so obviously you have to provide them with safety equipment, PPE, health and safety at work comes into it, etc. So they need to be properly trained and all that sort of stuff, and you have a duty of care overall, you know, for them while they're at work, etc. Okay, contractors, slightly different. You're not obliged to provide tools to a contractor. It's a contractor should provide their own tools. A contractor should not take all of their work from one source. Again, I've mentioned I'm not an expert in accountancy, but there is this this law that has come to pass within the UK, and you know, and other countries, etc., called IR35. In a nutshell, my understanding of that is basically that the contractor cannot do all of their work for one company and still call themselves self-employed. Okay, so for argument's sake, you've got an employee who works 5 days a week, who works, you know, let's say he does 30 hours a week or something like that. Okay, and you have a self-employed subcontractor who does 30 hours a week over 5 days. Okay, the contractor pays his own pays his own tax, national insurance is his responsibility, etc., and he will invoice you for the work that he does. Okay, You then pay him as if you were, using a contractor for some work on your own home, etc. And that's that. An employee, you are obliged to offer them a pension, give them holiday entitlements as a minimum. There is a minimum in the UK, and then they have to have a contract. You, as an employer, will pay their PAYE contribution and national insurance contribution to the HMRC if you're in the United Kingdom. Okay, and ultimately, people make it out that it's this real sort of nightmare to take on employees. I personally have one employee that works. He works. Do the maths, Chris. He does a minimum of 32 hours a week, and I pay him a salary. Okay, and from his salary, I then take national insurance contributions out of his wages. I then take his contributions for taxes out of his wages. I then add my contribution because I'm an employer, so I have to put into the national insurance and his pension, and then I send that off. Send off the HMRC, the national insurance contributions and tax, and then I have to send off his pension payments to a company called Nest, who do his pension. Right now, with a subcontractor, again, I can't use them full time, 5 days a week for a prolonged period of time. Why is that? That is because ultimately they become an employee in all but name. Okay, so you are using them as an employee. Okay, and they have none of the rights of an employee. They don't have paid leave. They don't have the safety equipment that that you purchase, etc., and all this sort of stuff. They have to have their own insurance. Okay, to do work, etc. It's advisable that any contractor you use has their own insurance. So there's, what I would do to safeguard it is ultimately, if you were starting out and you were looking at bringing another guy in, I would bring him in maybe 1 or 2 days a week as a self-employed subcontractor. That is to say that they have to register as self-employed. They have to invoice you for the work that they do on a daily rate. So I would set up a daily rate for them. So for argument's sake, if they were doing, I don't know, if they're doing 8 hours, say, set it up as £10 an hour if you wanted to, 80 quid a day, okay, or something of that ilk, whatever you decide to pay them. But what it would amount to would be a daily rate of pay. They would say, well, I worked this day and I worked this day. You owe me 160 quid. You would then pay them either weekly or monthly or whatever at the end of the month or whatever, okay? But the self-employed subcontractor is obliged to provide his own tools to an extent. Okay, I'm going to leave a link in the description for the HMRC the HMRC site, which explains who is an employee and who is a contractor, etc. And basically, there are 7 tests. Okay, now you don't necessarily. I am told by my accountant. Okay. You don't necessarily have to hit every single one of them, but if you hit more of them than you don't, okay, then you should be safe. There are certain caveats. For example, you're not going to expect a self-employed subcontractor as a window cleaner to drag a water-fed pole system and a tank system behind him. You know what I mean? So, there's you're better off looking at the website for those kinds of details, okay? So the other things to consider when bringing in people would obviously be, do you have enough work? Do you have regular work? Is your work, reliable work? Okay, so again, I've had discussions with other people, and they've said that they want to bring someone else in, but the problem is that their work is, subject to weather. And this goes back to other videos that I've done on this channel related to water-fed pole window cleaning, working in the rain, and all this sort of good stuff, and offering a reliable service, okay? I have said it before and I will say it again. A customer wants a reliable window cleaner. That is to say that every 4 weeks, or every 2 weeks, or every 3 weeks, or every 6 weeks, or every 8 weeks, or every quarter, whatever it is, you turn up when you say you're going to turn up, okay? and it doesn't matter if it's raining, and it doesn't matter if it's blowing a gale, okay? Reliability is a double-edged sword, and it swings two ways, okay? A customer cannot expect you to be reliable, okay? It cannot expect you, it cannot demand you to be reliable, and then say, oh, actually, I don't want you to turn up when it rains. It doesn't work like that. For me, personally, it doesn't. So in my company, we have a no rain off policy. That is to say, if it rains, we put a coat on. We're northern. We're good like that. Okay. So if you've got so in that sense, we have regular work, okay, that we rely on, okay. And if we have regular work, then I can, more or less guarantee that that employee is, 95% of the time is going to have their wages covered by the work that comes in, etc. Or I'm in a position to cover those wages. Goes back to what I was saying before. A contractor can wait for their wages in the same way that a self-employed business owner can wait for an invoice to be paid. But when it comes to an employee, if it's defined in their contract that you pay them monthly, then you bet your balls to a barn down, you better pay them at the end of every month. Because if you don't, you're in breach of contract, okay, and they can take you to court, and no one wants to go to get sued, okay. So if you think you're in a position where the work that you're doing is not regular enough to sustain it, or you're half thinking, cross your fingers and hopefully there's enough work that comes in, then I would argue you're not really in the position just yet to take on an employee, because your work is not regular enough, okay? So, yeah, I'm going to keep that. I'm going to call the video here, to be fair, because I could ramble on for hours about sort of this kind of effort. And get blown off at different tangents, etc. Okay. If anybody has any questions, queries, comments, snide remarks, send them my way. I do read the comment section. Okay, I do reply to comments that are worth replying to, etc. And I'll try and answer any comments, I'll try and answer any questions that I can to help, share the love, share the knowledge, etc. Okay. So. To that end, have a great week, everybody. I shall speak to you all in another video. Keep on keeping on.